Hello people, this is Mark from Courage Change Works. I hope that you are well. Just enjoying a nice sunshiny day. It's kind of coming towards the end of summer, spring, that kind of time, getting ready for autumn. So the leaves are starting to change and it's really good. With that said, things are changing, aren't they? Let's be honest with each other. This year, the world has changed dramatically when I think about lockdown and restrictions and limitations and you can only buy certain things. All these things has resulted in some form of turmoil in family lives, individuals' lives, businesses and these kind of places. It's gone really belly up in many ways. And in regards to that, this survival toolkit that myself and Laura are busy working on, I want to talk about this fundamental thing called stability. Now, again, let's be honest about all of this. You know, we are creatures of habit. We like routines. We like procedures. We like boundaries. We like to know what we're doing. We like to know how we're going to get there. We like to plan. We like structure. Very few people out there that kind of like myself, I like to plan a little bit and then let the day take its course, and I adjust as we go along. That's just how I work, and I find myself being incredibly effective doing that kind of a process in my own life because it's familiar for me. However, when lockdown came and you can't do this and you can't do this, it became a little bit unfamiliar, and I had to readjust my approach to life. I had to readjust my appraisal of my daily routines. And in the beginning, I'll be honest, things were a little bit wavy, a little bit fluid. There was no real structure other than the structure for today is there might not be any. And I wonder how lockdown, this COVID-19 lock, has affected you in your stability of your daily routines. How has it impacted you? What adjustments did you have to make? When it comes down to your work life, some people now work from home, some people work from the office, some people work a week in the office and a week at home. All these major adjustments in order to try and accommodate and generate some form of norm, some form of stability to bring about a newfound normality. What about your family life? What about the life that you have with yourself? What about the life that you have with your kids, your spiritual life? All these things had to change. Everything had to move and adjust. And when I consider what we like as people, we like something to be structured. We know we like what we want to do. We like to know what's going on. We like to plan. And now, this stable, I know what I'm doing, structured routines have all been messed around. So I wonder, what do we do to bring stability in a stormy life? What can we do to try and find normality when nothing's normal? As soon as these new rules come in and we have to adjust, and then 2 or 3 weeks down the line, then these new rules don't apply, and then we've got to make new rules and new restrictions and new limitations here. And it's been like a metamorphosis of evolving rule upon rule upon rule about change here and change there. Now you can and now you can't, and it applies to these but not to those, and it's now effective only in this city or this town, but that city and town over there, it's chaos. And I just wonder, in this chaotic environment we call the world today, what is it that we need to focus on to bring about stability? Let's be honest and let's be frank here. If at my age I live a little bit of a chaotic life, it's not so bad. I can adjust. My mental aptitude is such that I can swing with the punches, I can roll with them, I can dodge them. I'm quite okay. What concerns me is the elderly, where they can't adjust and adapt to these rapid changes. For them, it might come thick and fast, and it confuses and it disorientates the elderly. Detrimental. Then I think about the young people, the sort of early 20s maybe. They're kind of not young people anymore, but they're not quite adults either. They're in that transition phase. And what they are familiar with is unfamiliarity, instability, and chaos. It begs the question, what will happen to them when they have kids? Will this influence them to become chaotic in their lives? Then, of course, we go even younger still, where what about the babies, the toddlers, the pre-teens, the teens? All they know is chaos, unfamiliarity, instability. My thought is there's very little that can be done to help them not learn that. And I suppose in another way, this chaotic lifestyle that these very, very young people are in and they are forced to live in, I suppose in one way it will help them to learn how to adjust accordingly. But their forming years is chaotic. I wonder how stable they will be when they are in their late teens, early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and into adulthood. To my mind, they won't be able to be very stable. So what do we do? My advice and my encouragement to you would be is, number one, make sure that you yourself is in a good place where you are able to adjust and adapt accordingly. So when things come your way that is potentially going to be a means to throw you off your course, make sure that you are strong in your confidence. Make sure that you are strong in your self-esteem and in your self-worth, and your self-image is really strong. So when these difficulties come, that you are able to rebuff them because you are resilient and your tenacity is pitched at a high place. So at least you can then act as an anchor for your own life based on your experiences, where you can anchor yourself and say, I can rebuff this because I know who I am. I think it's vitally important that people need to go on this self-discovery where they know who they are and what motivates them. I do speak about this in another video. Go and check it out. It is really, really good and important. But I think that's the beginning point of all. We need to become solid people ourselves, and we need to be solid up in our minds, and we've got to be solid in our heart, and we've got to be super solid in our beliefs and our rituals and our morals and ethics. We've got to be rock solid. We've got to be tougher than the Hulk itself. Only then can we become that lighthouse that lights the path of security and stability and guidance to those who look towards us and look at for us for guidance. Only then can we say, we know the way to go, and I will show you how to go from instability to stability, because I talk from life experience. One chaotic person cannot, in a million years, lead another chaotic person to stability, because you become more chaotic. So the onus really lies on the self that says, I need to fix me before I even attempt to try and support you. That is my encouragement. And ultimately, what I'm thinking about is, if I can fix me, then when troubles hit my kids, I'm in a good place. I'm in a favorable place in order to be that what they need now for their future's sake, because I've walked that walk. I don't necessarily have talked the talk, but I can also walk the talk. And that, my friend, is something that is lost in this world. It is non-existent. Only when people say they can walk the walk, I ask you, walk it. But in unfamiliar territory where your mind is so full of cortisol and adrenaline that you can't necessarily think straight, what on earth is it that you're going to be relying on in order to bring some form of stability in your life? Yes, you will have to dig deep and find reasons and find experiences that says, I can anchor myself in this in order to find myself. I can anchor myself in that experience when it comes down to certain things. Because I can tell you now, these things will not bubble up to the surface, because it's overwhelmed by all the nonsense in the world. All you've got to do is turn the radio on and turn the TV on and flick on social media, and you'll be swamped with absolute BS. That is my point today. We need to find a reason to become stable ourselves in order to make sure that the next generation themselves are stable. Because consider this. If we ourselves in this generation now are unstable in everything that we do and everything that we say and think and how we behave, the next generation has got no hope. God help the one that comes after that. This whole world will be even a bigger shambles than what it is already. And let's be fair, the world is upside down and inside out, and for good measure, it feels like it's being shook about as well. So what am I saying? I'm saying this. First, you become stable. I'm reminded by my good friend Alan. He talks about when you go on a plane, the instructions is when the airplane goes into free fall, the first thing that happens is the mask, the air mask thing falls down. You look after yourself by putting the mask on your face first before you attempt to help those around about you. And I'm using that illustration here. First, you become stable before you dare attempt help someone else in their instability and their unfamiliarity about what's going on in the world. Only then can we start moving forward as a society and as a people. If I was a teacher, I would say this: go do your homework and find out who you are. Go find out what you're about. What is the experiences? What is the evidence that can be used to say, I'm a stable individual. I can tolerate all the trouble that's coming my way. How can I rebuff all this stuff? How can I rebuff all this trouble that's coming my way? Because you have to have some kind of evidence to believe in and hook yourself into before we can even dare say anything like that. That is it, my friend. That's all I want to say to you, is find out who you are and what makes you the stable person that you are. And if you find that you are unstable, do something about it. Go find advice. Seek advice from stable people. Go and do some soul searching, even if it means walk around the block. And how some people say, oh, I've got to go to the Himalayas to find yourself. No, all you've got to do is become quiet and search your mind, search your soul, search your heart, and find the reason to become a better version of yourself. It's not just for you. It is for the generation that follows and the one that follows, and maybe, if we're lucky, the one that follows then. That's all I want to say. Guys, I hope that this video has inspired you to do a bit of soul searching, etc., etc., etc. Please, to all the YouTube admin, the share, the subscribe, definitely the comments, please. Tell people about this channel because it's really important. But for now, my name is Mark from Courage Changeworks, and I'll speak to you soon.